Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I hope you are all well today. So I'm here today to talk to you about our year-end process and checklists for sole traders. And I'm talking you through step by step everything that we do when we're looking after sole trader accounts and running self-assessments. So today I wanted to show you the process that we have right at the very beginning, where we start collecting information from our clients. So let me just pop over into a different screen. There we go. Let's make that a little bit smaller so it's not overlapping. There we go. So I love this software. For presenting, Ecamm Live is just amazing, absolutely amazing. There you go, so you can see the screen. So today we're looking at information requests and how we manage them. So the very first thing that we do is send an email out to all of our clients. And this is a standard template that we hold in Chrome. Now, this is actually a plugin called Mixmax. And let me just show you what that does over here, Mixmax. And this is a Chrome extension that extends Gmail functionality. And when this pops in, I'll show you what it does. And it allows you to share calendars, embed polls into your emails, track emails, schedule email sequences. So that's really quite important if you've got a process that you want to use. Now, I don't use that too often. What I do in Mixmax is create templates. And you can create templates in Chrome, but I much prefer the templates in Mixmax. And of course, let me see if I can show you this here, email tracking. It also shows you how to do email tracking. But the thing that is most useful to me is the messaging with email templates. And this template that I'm showing you is one of those. And it means that you can have snippets and templates and canned responses for things that you are constantly referring to. So the same information request that you might send out, or the same response to something that you might send out. Saves so much time if you have all of those scripted and set up in your system as canned responses. So I think this costs me £12 a month, something like that. So the amount of time it saves me when I want to pick up a standard template. So here you can see, the 14-day SSP, 64A authorities, accountant's clearance, all in Mixmax, all set up so that it's quick and easy for me to go and create templates and find templates when I'm responding to clients. So this is one of those templates, and we use this to gather the self-assessment information that we need from our clients. So what we say to them is, so that we may complete your personal tax return by the year ending 5th of April 2020, so of course every year I update the year in the templates, please could you let us know if you have received any income or incurred any tax deductible expenses that we might not already be aware of but need to include in your personal tax return. So we use this same format for directors' self-assessment tax returns for limited companies and for sole traders who we're doing their accounts, and we need to know what else is taxable outside of zero. So we've got all their information, of course. So we tell them you can ignore your company director's salary, which we can get from zero, or your company director's dividends that we can get from zero. And this is relevant to those sole traders that have limited companies as well as a side business, but also the directors of limited companies when we're doing their tax returns. So what we're looking for is anything outside of zero that we're not already aware of. So for example, for the sole traders that I'm working on at the moment, quite a few of them are actually retired and they're receiving pensions from other areas, but they still have a sole trade business that they're running in retirement. So to make this as easy as possible for you, we have a simple online form for you to work through. So I'm doing everything I can to make this process as easy as possible for people to provide me with that information. So then I send them to a link, which is a self-assessment information request, and I'll show you that in just a second. And then I say we're keen to get your self-assessment return completed before the end of June 2020. So this is the template that I set up at the beginning of the year. So we did a whole flurry of self-assessment tax returns and filed them before June. And then we've got others that we're now working through, and it'll be those where, you know, the clients hadn't received their P60s for their pensions, or it will be clients that hadn't done their sole trader accounts but that they're responsible for, so we don't do the bookkeeping for these. So each time I send this out, I might do a batch before June 2020, I might do a batch again before September, and we try and get everything done by the end of the year, so that when tax season comes around in January, we've only then got the stragglers to work through, and then January is not such a rush. So we've done a lot of ours already, which is quite nice. So January won't be too stressful for us, hopefully. And then we're looking for opportunities to reduce payments on account. So this is one reason why we did so many of ours earlier on in the year, is we try to get our personal tax returns done before July, so that if there's any opportunity to reduce payments on account, we can do that before the payment on account, the second payment on account, is due. So I send this out to all clients, and then I set up a reminder in here. So this is another thing that you can do in Mixmax. If somebody hasn't replied to this within, say, a week or 2 weeks, it then pops up into the top of your inbox as a reminder for you to chase your client again. So you don't have to remember that that person hasn't done something. So I mean, you might have your self-assessments all in your workflow software or your task management software, or your spreadsheet if you're still working from spreadsheets. But Mixmax makes that easier, and you can set up the reminder so that it tells you that you need to rechase this email. So anything to do that will save us time and make sure that we don't miss anything is a major bonus in terms of time management. So then we send our clients to this self-assessment information request. So this is a plugin. This bit here is all WordPress, and this is the self-assessment information request for client use only. And what we're saying, again, we repeat, so that we can complete your personal tax return for year ending 5th of April, can you work through the list below and let us know if you received any income or incurred any tax deductible expenses that we need to be aware of. If there are supporting files to upload, like P60s, P11Ds, dividends, property rental income workings, interest certificates, etc., they can be uploaded to this form, although most of our clients actually upload them directly to a shared Dropbox. They tend not to send them by email. Some do, but most just upload them directly to our shared Dropbox. So we have a shared Dropbox folder or a Google Drive folder or a OneDrive folder with every client. So that way they're automatically putting that information in our domain, and again saving time chasing and trying to find documents. If they do send it to us by email, we save it to that shared Dropbox file, so again everybody knows exactly where it is. So this form is a plugin to our WordPress. I mean, we use Podio. Podio, then there's a mini workflow that you can add to Podio. So if you attach a Podio form here, you can see that the data is in the system, and the data then comes into a workflow, and it gives me a job to do to create whatever the outcome of this information request is. So in this instance, it's to create the self-assessment. Now, there are Ninja forms, there are Google forms, there are all sorts of documents and tools that you can use to connect and collect data from your clients, and all of those can be plugged into a WordPress site. So if that's not something that you are comfortable with doing yourself, it's something that you can get somebody else to do for you. So let me just show you the type of information we ask for. So we're asking for income and employment, and we ask them to upload their P60. If they haven't got anything, or if we've already accounted for it, or there's nothing else, we ask our clients to put nil or not applicable in. And the reason we do that is because we want to make sure that we've asked the question and we can prove for our audit trail and completeness of our records that the customer has provided a nil answer. So they are stating that there is nothing to declare. And that way, if there is anything that ever comes up in the future, say the client's forgotten some interest or they've missed something that HMRC knows about that we don't, we've got the audit trail to say that we asked for this and the client said no. So this helps us with our compliance procedures, and it's something that, if we were ever challenged by our governing body, which is SEMA, we could prove that we do the best we can to try and gather the information. And if something is missed, then it's not because we missed it, it's because the client failed to provide it, but we asked the question. So we keep the audit trail, which is why these information request forms are so important. So we ask for income from employment with P60s, we ask for benefits in kind, P11D, we ask for share dividends, and we ask them to upload their dividend voucher so we can take the figures directly from the source data. We try not to rely on the client downloading, bank statement transactions or quoting us something that they can't necessarily prove. You don't want to account for, £400 or £500 worth of, say, charitable contributions because the client has said it's £400 or £500. Preferably, we'd like to see evidence that that £400 or £500 is what actually went out of their bank account. Or I don't want to take a dividend voucher that is for a couple of £1,000s and not see the underlying data. So we also ask for income from trades or partnerships and ask them to upload their accounts. So it's likely for our clients that we do all of the accounting for sole traders, partnerships, limited companies, and everything that the client is looking for. But sometimes if they're a partner in somebody else's business, there might already be a legacy accountant in place, so we wouldn't necessarily see that information. Bank interest and interest certificates, we want to see those. Property rental income, income and expenses account, we want to see those. And some people keep their property rental data in a spreadsheet. Some of them keep them in a proper account. So there are several online apps that do full rental reporting, and you can keep multiple properties in those. We want pensions, P60s. Now we separate those specifically from employment P60s. So we're looking for income from employment because some retired folks do have other part-time jobs, and we want income from pensions because that's separate to what's already on an employment P60. And of course, some people can have more than one P60. We ask them for other income from UK or abroad, and then we go through the tax deductible expenses. So we tell them if you've incurred any tax deductible expenses during the year, please send the information to us. Some reliefs may reduce your tax bill, so we tell them why we want that information, and we ask them to provide as much information as possible. So, for example, gift-aided charitable donations, we ask for the data here. So we want to know how much they've donated to charity. And most of our clients provide us with an amount per charity, and we report it by line on their self-assessment. Plus, they usually attach a bank statement or an extract of bank statements to show those charitable donations going out. Payments to registered pension schemes where basic tax relief will be claimed by your pension provider. So if the client personally pays into pensions, they'll know what this means and they'll upload their pension statements. And then we look for, let's just get rid of this. So you'll see my fab freebie there. So we ask for any other reliefs that they might be entitled to. So payroll giving, blind person's allowance, gifts to charity, and we list all of them so that it acts as a trigger. Now what I'm thinking of doing is listing all of these as checkboxes where they have to say no, 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 no all the way down, instead of just having a list that people might might just sort of skip through. So, and then we look at gifted shares or assets, because sometimes people receive gifts or shares and they forget to mention them. We ask them if there are disposals of properties, shares, or other assets during the year, because, again, sometimes people assume that this is not a tax impacting event, and so they forget to mention it. So particularly shares sold. We had somebody once sell a painting for a substantial amount of money, and they'd forgotten all about it until we asked this question. And then we also talk about the PAYE arrears and coding notices. So most of the time the answer to this is all nil. If they've received PAYE coding notices during the year, almost all of our clients would send that to us as it came in. But again, we ask the question. We also ask them if they're aware of underpaid tax or outstanding debts with HMRC. Now, this is quite handy for new clients that we've just taken on board. And we should be aware of any arrears as part of our onboarding process. But again, we ask them to confirm yes or no and to provide details. We ask if they're claiming or want to claim the married couples allowance, and if one of them has earnings below the tax-free personal allowance. And then we also ask about high income child benefit charges. So we want to know if people received the child benefit and how much they received, how many children this related to, and if they stopped receiving child benefit if it was before the 5th of April. And then finally, we ask them for their authority. So really, we don't need their authority to submit to HMRC because we get that when they sign their tax return. But again, this gives us another point to reference if we were ever audited, to show that we have collected this data, we've asked the question, the client has answered it, we store all this information in Podio, or you could store it in Google Forms, or whatever your form choice is, and we also get them to confirm their name, their position, their email. And again, that's just to make sure that we've got somebody attached to this form in our system, and they can pick all their attachments down here and attach those. So this service is all free from Podio, integrates beautifully into WordPress if that's your choice for providing your website, and it means that you can automate or semi-automate the data collection process, which saves you an awful lot of time and effort if you've got people that you are trying to pull information from. Couple this with Mixmax, then you can send the email out, and then you can remind yourself, say every 7 days, to chase this person if they haven't responded to your information request. Now, in Podio, you can put little workflows in to assign jobs, track jobs, and set chasers. We don't use that to the nth degree because we have a different system for managing our workflows, which I'll talk about another day. But one thing I would say is, as much of your process as possible that you can automate or semi-automate or make easier for your client to get information to you, then the better. So I hope you found this video useful. Please let me know, give me a like or a comment if you've got any questions. Ask them in the comments below, and I'll come back to you later today and I'll answer them for you. Speak to you soon. Bye for now.